Mexican boxing boasts a rich legacy, with iconic stars like Julio Cesar Chavez, Salvador Sanchez, and of course, Canelo Alvarez, who have all etched their names in the annals of boxing history. Yet in the landscape of Mexican boxing, the search for the next star is a never-ending quest. Arguably one of the most polarizing Mexican boxers right now is Jaime Munguia, and while he has steadily emerged over the years, he has remained somewhat in the shadow of the likes of Canelo Alvarez. However, does he have what it takes to carry the torch of Mexican boxing into the new era, as thus far has received much criticism for making mistakes, taking cherry-picked fights, or even weight pulling? But in this breakdown today, I want to delve into Munguia's style, exploring his strengths and weaknesses inside the ring, as he has one of the most fan-friendly styles in the sport right now, and I'll dissect if he has what it takes to be the next Mexican star. So on that note, let's get right into it. Now, in preparation for this video, I watched all his fights since 2018, and at the beginning of his career in his early 20s, Munguia definitely embraced that classic Mexican pressure fighting style. This approach aimed to overwhelm opponents with sustained aggression, trapping them in the corners and ropes before unleashing rapid combinations. And under the tutelage of 4-weight world champion Erik Morales and Oscar de la Hoya's former trainer Robert Alcazar, Munguia definitely honed to be an aggressive boxer-puncher, often favouring brawling tactics. While his size advantage early in his career allowed him to bulldoze through smaller opponents, relying on his ability to absorb punishment and maintain relentless pressure. However, since he's moved up in weight classes, he's had to kind of evolve his style and adapt to the larger opposition he's faced, as we've seen Munguia still be able to push back opponents, but also look to box in the back foot at times, incorporating the pendulum step to manoeuvre in and out of range before launching an attack. Interestingly, he's joined forces with Manny Pacquiao's former trainer Freddie Roach, and it'll be interesting to see if Roach can continue to develop this under his guidance. But let's dissect some of the key components of Munguia's boxing style now. Now, first off, Munguia's jab serves as the cornerstone of his offense, opting for hard single jabs to disrupt his opponent's rhythm with it.
There you go, that's how you beat a tough guy. That is a tough jab from Munguia.
While not flashy, it effectively sets up his power punches and combinations, particularly from mid-range, and the influence of his former trainer Alcazar is evident in Munguia's commitment to targeting things like the body, and you can definitely tell his influence has played a big part in how he uses it, as Alcazar has said the following about his jab when working together. The jab is not only a weapon that can spearhead an offensive attack. When used with proper spacing and timing, it can be a defensive shield. Effective use of the jab will make the long reach of Munguia a more efficient fighter. Basically right now he's a puncher fighter, and I'm trying to make him a puncher boxer, the other way around. So I'm very focused on teaching him to get the distance and use the jab and have great leg movement. And personally, I can still really see this within his style to this day. And I really like how Munguia targets the body of his opponents consistently. Not only is this a good investment punch to make, but I feel this actually helps Munguia set up his combinations when he's trying to close the distance, as he really stabs into the gut of his opponent, which in turn makes his opponents indecisive on where to defend, head or body.
With the jab, there you go, upstairs and downstairs from Munguia.
Now, for the most part, Munguia is the epitome of a pressure fighter, constantly stalking his opponents with relentless forward movement to back you towards the ropes, or cutting off the ring to get you in the corners. And once he backs you up into these positions, he generally is willing to take risks to try and land a power shot or combination, even if it means taking one at times. But so far, we've seen him completely overwhelm opponents with a relentless barrage of punches.
Munguia walked right through him. Good body shot by Munguia.
Wearing them down physically and mentally before something eventually gets through. But I wouldn't necessarily say he's just some bulldozer that comes forward aimlessly. For example, if Munguia isn't entirely confident with his route of attack or a threat of getting countered, he'll sometimes use that pendulum step to take a step back before looking to go on the hunt again.
victory in rounds before. Did you see that in Ballard's corner?
Reading some of the Spanish newspapers, said, yeah, you respect them. It was a big year for both of these fighters. Ali went to the Olympics representing the U.S.
You know, Sergio, one thing I'm seeing from Munguia right now.
While he also uses his jab to push back his competitors to the ropes, often looking to double it up or feint with it, which in turn has made his competitors very hesitant and even back up, as they're probably worried of a big punch coming behind it.
Slipping away from us. Yeah, he can see what's happening.
Get closer, so he's more effective. Stay on the outside, he's in trouble. So, as you can see,
While if his opponent moves left, he'll use a quick L step so he can continue to apply pressure on his opponent and ultimately stop the route of escape.
bring him up, Jaime.
Overall though, it's all about brilliant use of maintaining the distance when he's using the pressure style strategy, and very much living up to other great Mexican fighters of the past, including the likes of Chavez. Munguia's approach to combinations is refreshingly straightforward, yet devastatingly effective. Instead of complex sequences, he favours crisp, straight punches followed by powerful hooks and uppercuts. The simplicity allows him to maintain relentless pressure while maximising the impact of those punches, and this includes some of the following combos.
Boxing staying on the outside. Tight defense.
Munguia measures him with the left, comes over the top with a right cross, lands right to the jaw. I would not try to throw him in the ring right away.
Time him with that right counter shot. No, and he caught him. 24 of his last 28. Close the show. Can he do something?
So he turned pro at 16 in Mexico, and he drops over here.
In my opinion, I think he has very underrated hand speed, not to mention he packs power in his punches too. While I also like that he's actively interchanging punches to head to body when he backs opponents on the ropes. And his best punch, and quite typical of a Mexican fighter, is of course the left hook, very much living up to his heritage. And I can't help but be reminded of the quote Mike Tyson said about this punch. The left hook can come from nowhere. It can be thrown short and quick or long and hard. It's a devastating punch, and for me, I very much feel Munguia does a terrific job in terms of setting up this punch, even his timing with it. Let's take a look at how he does this. Now, because he does have quite a front-footed style as seen with many who fight this way, it without a doubt gives him more leverage for the power behind his left hook in the first place. And you even see him try to slip to his left when up close to set up this punch to the body. For example, after throwing the right hand, his natural transfer of weight onto the front foot allows him to put more power behind the following hook. He'll also interchange from head to body and vice versa to keep his opponents guessing. But overall, it is the straight punches that help to occupy the guard, which in turn helps set up the following liver shot openings around the opponent's guard. We've also seen him use leaping hooks from distance as well, where opponents think a jab is coming only for them to get caught out. Personally, I think this is without question his best punch.
The previous two, Taz, no doubt about it. Oh, he's hurt him again. Absolutely. Thomas Taylor, one of the best in the business. Oh, and all of a sudden, just like
While Munguia's offensive prowess often takes centre stage, there is a myth that gets plagued around by fans that he only relies on his chin.
doing it against. He wants to see Jaime Munguia do it against the
Left, he's dipping to his right.
He has shown the ability in recent fights.
Well, maybe sometimes. However, he does actually have defensive skills that should not be overlooked. Like many Mexican fighters, he tends to employ a high guard defense, effectively blocking and parrying incoming shots while maintaining forward momentum, usually with more weight on the front foot. Now for someone who has a very aggressive style, this actually works in his favour, as he can close the range and even counterattack when his opponents attack back. You'll often see him even slip and duck punches thrown at him when coming into range, once again giving him counterpunch opportunities, while also maintaining the pressure.
I need to throw wide, wild shot.
Sometimes he'll even box in the back foot, taking a step back to try and reset himself, as I talked about before, or even just to take the sting off his opponent's punches, before going on the offense again, getting behind his jab. And in no way am I claiming he's a defensive maestro. I believe this notion that he has no defense is just incorrect. And here's what his current trainer Freddie Roach had to say about it.
When I first got him, there was a big article out like how where his defense is and so forth. And I said, they don't know what the hell they're talking about. And that's what he has. And I think he's going to take it to his next opponents. And that's why I'm very, very confident in winning another world title. And I can't wait.
While Munguia does have a strong chin that can withstand punishment, he can keep moving forward without being discouraged. And there's no doubt he has shown remarkable resilience in the face of adversity at times, often taking one to land 3 or 4. Though since moving up in weight, I think we've seen a more cautious side to Munguia, looking to use more footwork and try to use his guard to block punches. And this is because I think we have seen him get hurt a couple of times since moving up in weight, and I guess you have to wonder how longer he can rely on his chin to get him out of trouble at times. With the good comes the bad, and with Munguia's aggressive style in the first place, there's always going to be opportunities for opponents to land on him as he comes into range, as he does get caught out sometimes by skilled counterpunchers, and he can sometimes admire his work all too often, pausing for a slight second only to get caught out. And I feel this sometimes comes down to his lack of head movement at times, which has also been evident as he gets caught with single pot shots right down the line. Although this area has been improving for me personally, I think more is still required, especially after throwing his punches, as by staying in a stationary position gives his competitors the chance to counter back at him, and more often than not, land on him. Still has a tendency of dropping his guard after throwing with either hand, while another aspect is just his relentless pressure can sometimes lead to fatigue later on in the fight, which obviously results in opponents being able to fight back and even push him back at times. Nevertheless, I still think he's a developing fighter, and there's definitely room for improvement. Perhaps Munguia's most formidable weapon is just his raw punching power and output, as his punches carry concussive force, capable of ending fights with a single blow, as seen many times. But it's his pressure, as I've mentioned so many times throughout this video, that creates a nightmare for his opponents inside the ring. And when he does have you on the ropes or on the inside, in most instances, it's not a safe place for any opponent. And this is because he's always willing to brawl and look to interchange punches from head to body, making him a very difficult opponent to fight on the inside. Not to mention, alongside the power is just the fact he has an extremely high output compared to others and is willing to throw 4 to 5 punches, even if it means taking one. So it's very much a high risk, high reward style that he's operating from. And the fact he has over 30 knockouts and just over 40 fights shows how dangerous this guy is. Nevertheless, Jaime Munguia's boxing style is a thrilling blend of relentless pressure, quick combinations, and devastating power. And personally, I think he has one of the most fan-friendly, entertaining styles in the sport. And as he continues to develop and ascend in the boxing world, I think his dynamic style is sure to captivate fans in years to come. But I do think over the next few years, working on his defensive movements is going to be key if he's going to be taking over from the likes of Canelo and become the face of boxing. But one thing is for sure in my eyes, he's a lot better than people give him credit for. This has been Jamie from Boxing Life. I'd love to hear your thoughts on Jaime Munguia. Do you think he has what it takes to be the next star in boxing? I'd love to know. As always, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.